Hey everybody, this is Scott and Ariane from the Backpacker TV live show where we talk everything about backpacking, what to do, how to buy your gear, and especially for new backpackers that are just getting out in, just want to try it. We want to get you on the trail. And so we're here to ask any questions. We're here to kind of give some tips and advice and what you need to know. We're launching kind of a new thing on our show today. And we're going to talk about, if you're getting ready to thru hike the Appalachian Trail, this is your show, because we're going to talk about what to expect the first 30 miles of the AT, and really, what to go, right? What to know. So here's our show. Let's get ready. Woohoo! Welcome to the Backpacker TV live show. My name's Scott.
Hey guys, I'm Ariane.
And today we are talking about the first 30 miles of the Appalachian Trail and what to expect.
Yeah.
So, this is a for people that have come all over the world, and I mean that, to hike the Appalachian Trail. This is their bucket list. This is a dream of dreams that they have because it's bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
It's something that you want to connect to nature. You want to be out there, but you know it's going to be hard. So you do it anyway because that's where the fun is. The hard is in the fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
However,
there's always a however.
The first 30 miles is highly underestimated.
Yeah.
From people that have been planning their thru hike for 6 months, even a year, and it's not a cakewalk.
No.
As a matter of fact, we are always surprised when we do trail magic. We've been doing trail magic for years up on the Appalachian Trail, and we are always surprised at how many people are unprepared.
Yeah.
And that's only 7 miles away from Springer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that if you're going to start in the southern terminus, you definitely, most people underestimate it when they begin.
Yep.
For some reason, they think North Georgia's flat.
Right.
But it's not.
There's mountains up in there, mountains. So we really want to focus for this show on the psychological and the mental aspects of that. Only because you plan this huge event in your life for months and months and months, and it's almost like the crescendo to your journey when you get dropped off at Amicalola.
Absolutely.
And personally speaking, for me, when I was dropped off, I came in from Chicago. So, I planned it for 6 months, and then I had, a 12-hour drive to think about it, right?
Yeah.
And I get dropped off at Amicalola. It was raining, thunderstorm, nobody was there. I went in the visitor center by myself, weighed my pack, and, the person that dropped me off was like, "So I'm just supposed to leave you here?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." And, we both started bawling our eyes out, It right there. It's like there is some psychological issue when you've planned something so hard and so passionate about, and this is your bucket list, man.
For sure.
It's like one thing to say, okay, my bucket list is to jump out of a plane. Boom, you're pushed. That's it.
You've done it.
You've done it.
Yeah.
You're either going to come out of it or you're not going to come out of it.
But preparing for the Appalachian Trail specifically, whether you go north or south, it really does take this like psychological toll on you, because you can prepare, but what you're doing is you're reading other people's journeys, and really it's your own journey, and you have to figure that out for yourself, and your journey becomes more mental than physical the majority of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say this. I would say that when you're preparing for the first 30 miles for your hike, when you are getting out of the car and you're ready to go, everything that you've read or learned or watched a YouTube video on will be different because that's their experience.
Right.
Okay, it's theirs. They can't, they can't mimic an experience for you. So it's just different.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Amicalola.
But yeah, so the southern terminus starts at Amicalola State Park, a famous Georgia state park, obviously, and that's where it starts. And so the big question is do you begin at the Golden Arches, which is an additional 8 miles up to the beginning,
just to get to the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah. Is that part of your journey or is it not? Do you start at the top of the falls and then go from there up to Springer Mountain? So if we were to both do it again, we would start at the Golden Arches at the Visitor Center.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, and if you have comments about that, if you have feelings one way or the other, a lot of people say, well, if you don't hike the approach trail, you haven't hiked the AT.
Right, correct.
But that's not the Appalachian Trail, so you have a choice. You have really a couple different ways to go. So let's kind of start with the Amicalola approach trail, getting to Springer thing. So when you get dropped off at Amicalola, usually people are going to start doing the Appalachian Trail kickoff. That's the big party at Amicalola Falls State Park.
Usually the
year.
very beginning of March.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's in March. A lot of workshops, seminars, blah, and they have a little big camp area where everyone camps and then starts their hike, right? Because you're camping literally right in front of the approach trail of the visitor center at Amicalola. So people take off, boom. But there's also a couple different ways to get to Springer. The one is at the famous arches, right?
Yep.
Right behind the visitor center.
Yep.
As soon as you start hiking up, you're hiking uphill, man. That's 8 miles up to the top.
Straight up.
The other way is to take the other blue blaze and climb up the billions of stairs that you can get to see the Amicalola Falls waterfall. So you can do it that way. And then once you get there, you're kind of at the parking area for the Lenfoot hike in. Yeah. Now, the Lenfoot hike in, if I was doing the trail again, and I was through hiking it again, I would take that intersection to where the Lenfoot hike in goes up and stay and split that approach trail into a 2-day hike. Let me tell you why. Is because you're so emotional. You are so emotional. I think like by the time you get to the top of Springer, you're like, oh my God, I've made it to the top. And then you have like another 3 miles to either go down to Stoner Creek, or you can camp on top of Springer Mountain with the 1,000 other people that are going to be up there. Okay, so
I mean, it's a beautiful view.
It's a beautiful view. However, the Lenfoot hike-in is on the way to Springer. It's just another jaunt. It just goes a different way. I would stay there because you get, to meet some people. You get to kind of slow it down.
Yeah.
You get your emotions in check. You have a hot breakfast the next morning, cup of coffee, and then it's only a 5-mile hike to Springer Mountain. Okay, and so I would do that again because again, it's the psychological battle that you're constantly going to be doing with yourself, and so the first 8 miles up to Springer, you probably, in some cases, have already quit the trail. So you want to give yourself you always want to give yourself a better than average chance at being successful on your journey. And so you're in no hurry. Like, why do you have to race up to Springer? You're just not in a hurry. There's no time anymore.
It's your own hike.
It's your own hike.
And let it be your own hike.
Yeah. So
from the get-go,
I would do that. I'd probably go up to Lenfoot, spend the night, get a hot breakfast, and then have a cup of coffee, and then boom, shoot out, and have that. And then I'm not forced to stay up on top of Springer Mountain. I can maybe go keep going.
Right. Well, if you're only 5 miles away,
right.
You can make your hike longer. But yeah, so you're starting. You're starting in Amicalola State Park. Well, let's back up a little bit to over the past 2 years specifically. There has been an enormous amount of buzz about, hiking the Appalachian Trail. You had the two movies, A Walk in the Woods, and then also Wild, even though it wasn't specific to the AT. It started gearing people to believe that they could also do this. And so it brought in a huge, huge, huge draw for a desire to hike it. A lot of those people are unprepared, and a lot were uneducated about leave no trace and the 7 principles in regards to that. So Appalachian Trail Conservancy, they put together, with Leave No Trace, they put together a request to actually register your hike, right? So it's a completely volunteer basis. So if you are hiking the Appalachian Trail, we do encourage you that you look into this. And you can go to their website to find out all the details of what it is. But really, it's about minimizing the social and ecological impact that is created by these enormous amount of people trying to shove into one space all at the same time. Because the start of the Appalachian Trail in the southern terminus really begins March and to the mid of April, and that's really where the most impact is seen in terms of the swarms of people. So you can do several different things. Obviously, start a little earlier, which a lot of people do to beat.
Or start on a weekday.
Yeah, or start on a weekday. That would be well. But the idea is to go in and register your hike so that you're a little bit more educated, as well as they can kind of monitor the amount of people leaving it, and it helps actually minimize the amount of people that you're starting with if you start around the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
that's important to know.
Yep. I mean, like once you get to Amicalola, you have to weigh your pack. That's a tradition. You've got to go to the scale.
You got to find how ridiculous
and weigh your pack and take a photograph of it. And I can guarantee it will be different by the time you get to the middle of your hike. For sure. So, and it's really important when you get there. No matter where you start, no matter what you believe.
It's a beginning for you.
No matter where you start, whether it's the Blue Blaze, the Approach Trail, or wherever, sign the guest book, sign the registration book. That's really important because it documents you being at Amicalola for the ATC later on when you get to Harper's Ferry.
Right.
You make sure you always sign the registration.
Always. So that way you are identified as a through hiker.
So and if you don't want to hike the Approach Trail, if you're like, well, whatever, I'm on a schedule, which right away tells me, don't be on a schedule. You can drive on the other side of Springer Mountain. There's a parking lot there. It's a trailhead parking area. It's on the Appalachian Trail, and you can park there, have someone drop you off, hike up
Springer
1 mile to the plaque, to the start of the Appalachian Trail, get your photo up there, and then just hike back down. And you technically would have started right on the Appalachian Trail where it begins.
Right.
So
you see a lot of people doing a lot of different things at the beginning.
So, again, it's, I think my personal opinion is that you split the Approach Trail up 2 days, take your time, get used to it, don't panic. When I did it in 2003, I literally thought I was running a race. And so my adrenaline was so out of, like, it was whacked, right? So it's like just hiking, just calm down.
With your YMCA.
With my YMCA. And so that's what I would do. So so here's a picture, just kind of share that with you. This is me in 2003 at the arches. That is the famous arch picture. Right after that arch, about maybe 50 yards after, you start hiking uphill.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, that's it goes pretty quick. It's 8 miles up to the trail. So you're up at Springer.
You've made it.
You've made it to the top of Springer.
Now you got to keep going.
Right? So after that, it's pretty good backpacking. I guess what I would say. I would say to that is that you know, it's going to take, and I know we're talking about the first 30 miles, but mentally prepare for your body to adjust to the shock of backpacking every day, and give your body 2 weeks to adjust.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you've prepped before before your hike, it makes no difference. It is different unless you are prepping on the Appalachian Trail every day for, before your through hike. It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's just not the same. So if you go to the gym and you're doing the Stairmaster and you're thinking, I'm really in shape, and that's good, but all I would warn you is that the psychological mixed in with the physical is going to be different once you start going up these mountains. And it's, you can, the thing is, people train on the Stairmasters all the time.
Yeah, but you're not contending with weather. So
no, and you're not contending with weather, and there's no Stairmaster that makes you climb downstairs.
Oh my God.
Do you know what I mean?
The down is always
do it in reverse
worse.
because the downhills are much more worse than the uphills.
Yeah, that should have been our question of the day. Do you prefer downhill or uphill?
Right. I prefer
uphill.
I prefer
any
uphill
day, all day. But no, you're right. And I think that this is where, the first 30 miles, we're not going to be giving you specs. We're not going to be telling you exactly what you're going to experience, by step on the first 30 miles. This show today is about what can you expect and what do you need to prepare yourself with.
That's right.
And it is get your mental game on.
Yep.
And be prepared, man. Be prepared to stay above it. So this is really what our show is about today, is the mental preparation. And again, what is the most important piece of gear that you'll ever take out with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Do we want to tell them now what that is?
Yeah, it's a good attitude.
Yeah, it's a good attitude. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The most important piece of gear that you will ever take on your through hike on the Appalachian Trail. I don't even really care what trail you're on, but it's going to be your good attitude, because guess what?
I mean, to see the beauty and everything, to stay above all the muck that you're going to experience.
Yeah, and Mother Nature doesn't care you're hiking the Appalachian Trail.
Right, and they've heard us say this before if they're, watching our show. But it's so true, and we can't express it enough, because your hike is different than any trail guide out there. Your hike will be different than any specs that you've created. It's all up here. And if you don't have this game going,
it's all up there.
You're probably not going to make it those 2,000 miles.
So good attitude is important, because like, show me a video on YouTube about backpacking that demonstrates how to have a good attitude while backpacking. I mean, there's all about gear and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, your most important piece of gear that you will ever carry is going to be in your head, and that's going to be your good attitude. Because when it rains or it snows, or like when I did the AT, man, it rained for I don't know, it felt like a year. But if it rained every day for weeks, and it was really hard to have a good attitude.
Yeah, and I think that's where really understanding
when your underwear is wet, it's hard to have a good attitude.
I could see that.
Yeah, it sucks. So you have to embrace the suck. So everything about mentally doing the Appalachian Trail, especially the first 30 days, it's going to be mental, and then there's going to be some pain involved. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it is physical.
But that goes away after a few weeks. That goes away. So, but it's still going to be mental, because you're out there by yourself. You don't know what to expect. You're there with other people. And the thing is, you've researched and read other people's stories for 6 months. And so your story, you've got to create your own story. So you're really, no matter how much you've read other people's stuff and watched videos, you're there at that moment creating your own journey. So to read somebody else's book on how to psychologically prepare for the AT, that's great, but in the end, it's your own psychological preparedness. It's going to be your own way to develop your journey and to experience that journey on your own. You can't experience someone else's journey, right? You can kind of live vicariously through their eyes, maybe, dream about it, think about it. But in the end, it's going to be your climb. It's going to be your uphills. It's going to be your downhills. It's going to be your blisters. It's going to be your rain, snow experience. It's going to be your wet underwear experience, your wet sleeping bag experience, whatever that is for you. That's going to be your experience, right? And so, and the only thing that we would suggest as far as that is have a good attitude and be grateful. Gratefulness will get you through more stuff.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Because after all, when you hike in day after day after day after day, it's almost kind of like going to work. So,
it is.
And I know that sounds really strange to say, but,
That's a good
you know,
point.
yeah. I mean, people quit their jobs and go explore, being on the Appalachian Trail, and they're so excited. But then it just becomes, even though you're surrounded by the beauty, there are days where you're going to feel like, oh, gotta go hike.
Yep.
And that's the honest truth of it. And if you do have that good mental attitude and you are very, very grateful for what you're doing and why you're out there, that's going to make all the difference in the world in your hike. So,
Yeah, it really will. And that's an excellent point, because, a lot of people say, why are you on the Appalachian Trail? Well, I quit my job. Well, guess what?
you have a new one.
Your new job is to pack and unpack, maybe 3 or 4 times a day, and to walk, 12 to 15 miles a day, uphill both ways in dirt. And so it's, it does kind of give you a feeling of working. And that's one of the things that you kind of have to, mentally prepare yourself for. It's like, wow, this is kind of hard.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get up. I'm gonna hit my snooze button. But the cool thing about the Appalachian Trail is no one gives a shit how many times you hit your snooze button, right? So if you want to start your hike at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, man, that's your deal, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the beauty part of the Appalachian Trail, is that even though it is, you do feel a sense of going to work every day, you can be late to work every day.
Well, the beauty in the thing I would say is the beauty in hiking a long distance hike is no matter how much preparation you do in terms of structuring your hike and how long it's going to take you to get through the first 30 miles. Well, I assure you, within the first 30 miles, you're going to meet some people that you want to hike with, and it's going to change all of your plans.
Right.
And so flexibility on top of having a good attitude is
the best plan.
Is honestly your best plan to be able to get through the entire thing. So those first 30 miles, man, oh man, all I can say is open yourself up to the adventure, and see what happens. Because if you get through those first 30 miles, you're probably going to drop some pack weight because your body is hurting.
Sure.
Which is, leading us into the next week's show. But if you do those first 30 miles, you have a really good chance at making it.
Yeah, so. You bring up a great point, because when you plan your through hike, you methodically plan all of your food drops, where you're going to stop, where you're going to go. But the thing is that you don't count on is meeting other backpackers that you really enjoy hiking with, right?
Yeah.
And so you get to this point and like, I've got to do this is where I go into town, and then your new friends say, well, no, we're going to skip that town and go on. Well, you're probably going to go hike with them, right? So preparing for the AT is, and you're going to learn this the first 30 miles of the AT, I guarantee you, is that your plan may not be your plan anymore. It's got to be flexible, and you just have to be willing to say, yeah, you know what, I'm free. I'm on the trail. I can do whatever I want. Why do I have a plan? And so your best plan is to be flexible and to be ready and willing to go off your plan, because the trail will provide you with everything that you need to successfully through hike the AT, and it certainly gives you everything you need, including food, your first 30 miles. There's so much food on the Appalachian Trail, your first 30 miles, that I would be willing to say that I could probably hike the first 30 and bring a few candy bars and eat like a king, because everyone overpacks their food bag. I mean, crazy overpacks. And then usually at Wallasey Center or Neal's Gap, Mountain Crossings are cooking. They're cooking hot dogs and hamburgers. So, I mean, and you have trail magic on the way. So your first 30 miles, it's really, you learn so much about the culture, about the trail itself, what it's going to provide for you.
You got a few mountains to hike up.
You've got a few mountains to hike up, which are always underestimated, but and then and then you've got Blood Mountain. So real quickly, this was my experience on Springer Mountain when I was there in 2003. Wow, look at that. That is a very scrawny, and look how much hair I had. Oh dear God. That is like, but you can see my little gadget around my wrist right there. That is my MP3 player. So I had back in the day. Yeah. So that was that guy. Let's see. So let's talk about weather real quick too, about your first 30 miles. So you can see it had rained that morning. So by the time I got to Springer, it had stopped raining. The sun was kind of peeking in and out there, but then not that far into the hike. And we've experienced this many times when you get you go down to Stover Creek and then you climb back up to Hickory Flat Cemetery. This was just a few years ago. So this is where we do trail magic every year. So you can expect that kind of weather. You might be sunny in shorts and a short sleeve shirt one day, and you may be in a world of cold and hurt and snow the next day.
But that's all the beauty of hiking.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
what you're out there for.
So that's right at Hickory Flats Cemetery, which is a great place to stop when you come across the Appalachian Trail and you see the toilet seat that says cemetery. Take that left and go into the Hickory Flats area. They have a picnic, or they have like a pavilion there and a picnic table. And of course, this is Blood Mountain. This is us kind of jacking around up Blood Mountain shelter. It's the oldest shelter on the AT, which is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And then once you start going down to Blood Mountain, we're at Mountain Crossings. That is your first 30 miles of the Appalachian Trail, and that's where you seek sanctuary. They have a bunkhouse. They're really good people over there, and that's where we will be next Thursday. When we are doing Shakedown, for sure. So so that's kind of like a little bit about your first 30 miles. I don't know. I mean, it's all psychological. You just gotta. You've got to have a flexible plan. You have to understand it's going to be hard. You have to find a way, in any way, to be grateful that you're out there. And when it sucks the most, that's when you have to find gratefulness the most. Don't listen to all the folklore. Don't spend your time reading all the books. Don't spend your time watching 1,000 videos. Just get out there.
Never gonna meet your expectations.
It's never gonna be your experience, and just trust the trail. Just trust it, and it will give you everything that you need to do to go far past 30 miles, to get all the way up to Katahdin and Baxter Maine Park, or Baxter State Park in Maine, and just be grateful. Just be grateful. And when it's raining out and you're cold, embrace the rain.
Gather some rainwater.
Yeah, gather some rainwater. Always make yourself a part of, whatever natural event is coming around. So, but anyway. Do you have any questions?
Nope, not today.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show, everybody. Next Thursday, we're going to be at Mountain Crossings. We're going to be doing our shakedown. So if you are, if you're getting ready to hike the Appalachian Trail, that would be a really good show to watch, because Mountain Crossings is going to tear some backpacks apart and say, "Oh, this was good. Now, please take that out of your pack."
As it should be.
Yeah, and then one of the things that we've instituted on our website, thebackpacker.tv, is now you can ask us anything at any time, live video. So all you have to do is go to thebackpacker.tv/ask us. That menu item is right on our website. And so if you have a question about backpacking, or you're planning a through hike, or you are even going to go with your friends on the weekend, or you're going to go with a club, or you're going to go with an adventure company, and you have specific questions on anything to do about backpacking, whether it's the 10 essentials, first aid kit, tents, sleeping bags, you can go there and pick a time pick a day and a time where you would like to ask us, and then we send you an invite to that, and then we just chat live one-on-one. So we give you 15 minutes of that. Go ahead and check that out. I think that's really cool because you can do it from your phone.
Yeah.
You don't need a computer, desktop. You can just do it from your mobile smartphone, and as long as you have service,
Easy.
we can schedule that with us, and so then we know that time is dedicated specifically for you. And then we just chit chat for 15 minutes. And especially if you're going to go through hiking and you have a gear failure, or you need something, or you need some advice while you're hiking, you have your smartphone on us, you want to schedule something with us, like food drops or whatever, we will talk to you live.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, that's our show. Thank you so much for dropping in today. We here every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Facebook page. Go to our website, thebackpacker.tv, and subscribe to our email list. We're getting ready to put out another mailing out in the next couple of days, so make sure you're on that list. And we will see you next week.
Yeah. Live at Mountain Crossings.
Live at Mountain Crossings. We'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.